Arise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here. We are back for another episode of Atari Twilight, Age of Always. And boy, howdy, have Greg and I been taunting the players of this episode for how important and intense and terrifying this episode is going to be. But that's all I'll say on that. If you guys like what we do here and you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is over on our Patreon, like these fine folks over here. Link in the description down below. While you're down there, click on that Discord link. Join us in the Discord. Be a part of the community. Be a part of the conversation. And as always, in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see the corruption bar. That bar serves two purposes. One is when that bar fills. Greg kills one of these characters, and two, every single dollar that goes back into this channel for all kinds of things like mortgages, the lights, new equipment, flights to places, for events and things, and all kinds of other cool stuff that we do here. That being said, I will turn things over to our game master to take us straight back to Garrett. Greg?
Very good, my friends. It is a pleasure to be back here on unMadeGaming for Atari Twilight Age of Always, which is our ever long, never ending campaign based on Tales from the Loop by Free League. I want to ask a question right now of my players, and I'm going to talk a little bit, but I want them to be able to think about it. And this question, yeah, okay, so maybe a content warning going forward. We are currently dealing with kids. All of the players that you see in front of you are playing kids in the Tales from the Loop system. Normally, kids in the Tales from the Loop system are safe enough. You know, they can be knocked out, but they can't be killed or anything like that. That little rule no longer exists in our campaign. So, with that being said, please be aware that these kids have a mortality about them now. And so, with that being said, I wanted to start the questions with something light because this session might be a little heavier than normal. So, my question to my players, since this is going to be a tough session, let's have an easy question that I didn't get to ask earlier in the season. This is one of the ones that I had to pivot away from because of the circumstances that we had. What is the accomplishment your character is most proud of? A work of art, a feat of athletics, music, a photograph, a poem, something written, their grades, academics, whatever it would happen to be. If your character was asked, and again, maybe something outside of the scope of what we've seen in the various campaigns that we've had. It may be something that, from earlier in their life that they're very proud of, that if they were asked at this moment, you know, beyond all of the adventures and the fantastical elements, just as a kid in Garrett, what are you most proud of? What was the accomplishment that you kind of dust off and polish every once in a while to see, to kind of remember fondly? Now, with that being said, I'm not going to go into the intro, but I am going to let everyone know that this is, of course, based on Free League's Tales from the Loop system. The kids in this are, of course, mortal at this point. We've already established that. What does that mean? That means that we are going to be seeing, it's without question, there will be combat at the top of this episode. The kids will be involved. And while they are currently sound and healthy and okay, that will change. So again, I will never ever try to make anything graphic, especially when it deals with kids and my players, because I love my players and their characters more than anything. But at the same time, if something terrible were to happen, I am going to leave that up to a conversation between myself and the player. I will allow input from the other players, of course, but in Tales or Things from the Flood, which is the kind of the spiritual successor of Tales from the Loop, there is a moment where you can basically say goodbye to a character, and that involves the entire cast. If something like that were to happen, then we will stop. We will address the weight of the issue as it pertains, and we will give it the gravitas that is deserved, because these players have been playing these characters for several years now. And it's, not likely that I enter into something like this. But we are several campaigns and several seasons into this. And before them is the biggest bad that has ever been in any of them. And this character has been behind the scenes for most of what's been going on. So with all that being said, I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that that's a possibility that could happen. I, as your game master, and to the audience as well, I will strive to make sure that this isn't gratuitously violent. And again, this is a conversation that should always happen at every table between the players, uh, whoever's in charge, the GM, and of course, anybody in question with this particular act. So, with that disclaimer set, I would now like to go around and talk to my cast and see at this moment what their characters would be most proud of, maybe outside of their adventures. So I'm going to start with Chris.
Um, Ricky's not a very prideful kid, but he'd probably be most proud of the friends that he's made in a group that is so diverse. Diverse in that they're completely different. Every one of them is completely different. Um, in a lot of groups, I find when you're young, friends are very similar to you, but they're all so different and all bring so much. Um, but there's no real achievements other than work.
Very good. Your friends it is. Let's jump over to G. What is your answer to the question?
Hmm. Yeah, I'm actually really raking my mind here for this. Um, During the forgotten year in '89, when the Keystones were they lost their memory. Heather was sleeping in VH's tree, and the group was kind of fractured because they didn't remember the close connection that they had with each other. Scarlett was hardcore training to join the varsity football team. She did end up making the team, but without her friends there, it kind of felt empty. So she was incredibly proud of being able to do that, but she almost didn't let herself enjoy it. And it was a very like dark year for her. She just turned 14, and hormones are raging, and she's angry and she doesn't know why. Um, but I think the most mm, uh, the thing she was most proud of is way back in 1988 when she got to take the field for the first time, and she threw that touchdown pass to JD. I think that was her proudest moment for herself. That was the one where she was like, "Yes."
It's a great moment. It's a great moment and
Yeah.
one to be proud over. Um, Melissa, how about Heather?
I think Chris stole my answer. I think the one change I would make to it is instead of being proud of having made those friends, I think she would say that she's proud of her friends, as who they are as individuals. But I'll add because it seems like you're interested in like some sort of like creative endeavor. I don't think she's
Whatever
ever
you'd
like
like. Yeah.
I don't think she's ever like made anything that she would necessarily be proud of, but I think I imagine that in the quiet hours, when she's falling asleep or she's hiding or she's in the shadows, um, she probably daydreams and imagines a world. And I think she's like, this is the beginning of uh, her becoming like an author or something in the future where she's building a world and she's building a story.
Oh, that's fantastic. And that fits very well with the way that, I view Heather personally. So I love it very much. Okay, so before we start, let's go around and I would like all of you to say who you are, who you'll be playing, and what your playbook is for this system, Free League's Tales from the Loop. So let's jump around in the same order. Chris, start us off.
I'm Chris, and I'm playing Ricky Lewis. Ricky Lewis is the class jock.
Fantastic. And G.
I am G, your friendly neighborhood lightning invoker, and today I'm playing Scarlet Blake. She is the second jock of the group, the athlete.
Nice, nice. And last but certainly not least, Melissa.
Hi, I'm Melissa, and I'm playing Heather Jones, who is the weirdo.
I always love that one. All right, my friends. Just remember, I love you all. The age of always is growing. It lives, it breathes, it hungers. War has come to the age of always. Its beauty turned to violence, its people conscripted into a battle eternal, a conflict with no beginning and no ending, never ending in point of fact. But we are no longer in the age of always. Gone are the friends that stood beside you, Mr. Lewis, Wendy, Alice, and Dorothy, the wizard Mitch, Lion, and of course, your two closest allies, Van Halen, the sword princess Valeria, daughter of the Lilac Prince, and she who sits the Mobius throne, and Randall Flagg, once the walking dude, the man in black, now just a man. You stand in your hometown of Garrett, Maryland, 8 years after you last saw it. Before you sits a humanoid covered in inky, dripping, and roiling darkness. Nothing else can be seen. Nothing can be heard. Nothing can even be guessed of its appearance beneath. This creature is nothing. And it stands before you. You sense a humor and a confidence that you can smell. You are not whole. Only 3 of the 4 leaves. Will it be enough? Or will a dying, powerless Garrett watch as some of its last, few, bravest children fall to nothing? Welcome, one and all, to potentially the last episode of Atari Twilight Age of Always, Episode 9, The Eternity Road Less Traveled. My friends, before you, upon the pyramid of stacked mag trucks, sits this creature. The guitar, perfectly polished, its wood and its tune exquisite. You watch as the creature stands and takes the guitar and slowly moves it behind them. And without having a place to put it, the hand returns empty, the guitar gone. I need you all to make a move roll for me.
One for Scarlet.
One for Ricky.
I didn't see Ricky's come in. Okay.
I think my roll 20's bugged. Let me just refresh it.
Are you in the right roll 20, Chris? Because I don't see you.
Yeah, I don't
It's
see you either.
Atari
Chris.
Twilight.
Age of Always.
That could be why. Roll 20 puts it in that weird order that what someone else has accessed comes to the front.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, did you say you had 1 success, though? Because I'll take your word
Yeah,
for it.
I can re-roll. It's fine.
Alrighty. So as it stands right now, Scarlet, you will act first, followed by Heather, and then we're gonna have Ricky go last. I just saw it come in, Chris. Before you, the creature, as it stands and puts the guitar away, it looks down at you all, and it mockingly shivers in the blowing snow and the deep powder that is on the ground, 8 inches at least, as it blows and drifts in this section of the mag truck graveyard. Nothing but the pyramid really being able to stop this wave of powder as it crests over the old um, field that this was. And as he stands there, shivering, he says, "Well, this hardly seems fair." And you all start to get cold. You feel the wind grab your hair, your clothing, It's biting. You smell Garrett. The wind from the pasture, even though it is covered in snow, snow carries that freshness, that pine. And you hear the crunch of the snow beneath your feet. You feel the cold creep into your shoes, your legs, as they are now submerged in the snow. You are in Garrett. And he attacks. I need everyone to roll a move roll again, please.
Was that move roll just for initiative?
That was just for initiative.
Okay. Okay. As he charges, Scarlet yells, "Look
He doesn't
out!"
charge.
Oh, he doesn't charge?
You see him lift his arms, and as he does so, that inky blackness that's licking from his shoulders and his forearms, it shoots towards you. And I'm going to give you this one for free. It looks like musical notes as it creeps and spins and helixes off of his shoulders and forward. And you can hear song. You can hear beats and bits of popular music, of folk music, of old music played around a campfire. But all of those notes come from this creature and they scream toward you. Gee, what did you get?
Ew.
2 successes gives you 1 condition as it strikes your chest and blasts you back into the snow. You are on your back looking up as the snow swirls, the sky obscured, whatever is blue beyond it, if it is even still blue, is obscured because of the snow and the darkness that you see now. And as you breathe out, the air forced from your lungs, you see it as it fogs in front of you. I will let you take whatever condition you would like, but a condition you must take.
Yep. I just took upset. So, what is it? Something physical that hit me? Like, what did it feel like?
Absence,
Hmm.
loneliness, a dread. You are not physically harmed, but you are hurt.
She kind of cries out and like grasps her chest and like clenches her clothes in her fist, and she uh, kind of rolls to her side and forces herself to her feet. Don't let that hit you. And then she glares at him and she runs forward.
Chris, I need you to make a charm roll for me.
Somehow 3 successes, Greg.
Jesus.
With 3
From
dice.
From 3 dice, you
Wow.
had 3 successes, which of course is 666, but we won't get into that part of it. This is a good part. So, what you all would see is you see this creature as it produces some of that ink that covers its body, that licks off of it, that acts as flame and tar and oil and just the deepest of black that seems to just lick across its surface. It puts it together almost like a photo negative of a snowball here, bastardized in this blizzard, and throws it at Ricky. It is screaming towards his face. But Ricky, how do you evade this attack?
I think Ricky would drop to the ground. As he does, gets up and tries to get himself back up as soon as he can.
Okay, so you like kind of almost like violently throw yourself to the ground because it's coming so fast. And so for a beat here, both Scarlet and Ricky are on the ground. Scarlet suffering obviously more from the attack than Ricky, but you're both down. And for a moment, Heather, you stand facing this creature as you can tell when it's looking at you, but it has no eyes to make it truly, discernible. But you can feel it when its gaze hits you. And its gaze hits you, Heather. It's part of that weighted blanket that you had been feeling, that doom that seems to have, at least around its proximity, created this like aura that you have been able to feel since you were brought back here into Garrett. As soon as you all now are physically here, you can feel it, and it's palpable. It's almost bringing you to tears because of the sorrow and the absence and the loneliness and the dread that it produces. But for a moment and a beat, you stand facing it, and I need you to roll a d12 for me, Heather, as your magic comes online.
That's a 1.
I will again let you know that your assets are in play here. I am not going to remind you anymore. There is luck, there is pride. You may push and take a condition for a reroll. It is completely up to you. But again, please remember that you're been refreshed. You have all of the things that you need at this present time. G has a condition, but pride and luck are here. Did you want to use any of those, Melissa?
Can you push magic? The
Absolutely. It's one
D12?
of your skills. Yeah, you can push the D12. This will give you a condition though, in the pushing.
All right. Yeah, I'll go ahead and push and take scared, because Heather's always going to be scared.
Right.
And I will try and roll D12 again. 11. Whew.
Well, that's 10 better.
Mm.
Everybody, if you could go to the Spotify playlist, and of course, we need to have that Spotify playlist available for everybody. I'm not sure if somebody put that in our chat, make sure that Mike has it. That would be capital. If you could go to your Spotify playlist, please, and let's cue up the track number 1 by Tori Amos, Crucify. Okay, Melissa, as Heather's magic, now that she is physically manifest here in the world, it it begins, you can feel it, but it takes that last little bit of effort to breach the veil, or what would have been the veil between here and there, as you draw your magic directly from the age of always and bring it to Garrett. And as it appears, the two of you that are on the ground, Scarlet and Ricky, you see the Vorpal blade appear on the back of Heather in its normal spot as this weapon of lore, this weapon of wonder gifted to you by the now past Maggie. What do you do, Melissa, as Heather stands in front, her magic returned, and for a moment, you have an action as this vicious sneak attack has already hit?
Um, I think Heather's not going to draw her sword. She's going to reach into her pocket and she's going to draw her itty bitty booklight out. And then clicking it on, she will she'll make a maneuver similar to drawing a bow, and then she'll release it and fling light from her itty bitty booklight, the Man of Shadow.
Like a magic wand.
Hmm.
All right. What I want you to do here is I want you to roll me a d12. And in addition to the d12, I also want to take a force move as two worlds collide.
So we got a 6 and 0 successes on the force.
You see the light streak in the, everybody here sees this as it's more light than just produced by an itty bitty book light. This is a beam of light and not a flashlight beam or something from, an electric torch. This is magic. This is condensed. This is concentrated and focused. It is power wielded by a witch. And as Heather brings it to bear and fires it, it strikes the creature in the chest, and you see that wherever the light hits, the darkness recoils from it. Wherever it's waving, it's almost as if, it's piercing through the smoke, and the smoke dissipates around it for a moment. And the creature looks down at the mark and then looks up at you, Heather. Well, a witch, I never. And we are in initiative order. Scarlet, what will you do?
Just a quick question. Isn't that her iconic item,
Mm,
Heather?
yeah,
Gets
that's
plus
true.
2?
It is my
Yep,
iconic item.
there we go. Yep.
So that gives you one more dice. Is that right? Two more dice. I'm just gonna roll 2d6 then. Got one.
Let's roll it back a little bit. As you see the light hit the chest and it moves away, the creature, a witch. Well, I never. Scarlet.
So now that we are in full-on combat, we don't usually get into combat in Tales from the Loop very often. How many actions can I take?
You may do one roll. So you can add as many actions to it as you would like. I will, of course, add the number of successes that I think that you need to have to do like a multifaceted move. But if you have several things you want to do, I will tell you what the DC is, the success rating is before you roll. As far as overcoming this particular instance of trouble, it only gets more difficult if you add more things. But you can tell me what you want to do, and I'll let you know what you need to do.
Okay. I'm just gonna do two things. Well, a move plus 2 actions. So she's moving forward. How close to the base of this pyramid are we?
Probably 50 feet.
Okay. So she's gonna move closer. She's running forward, and as she passes a pile of junk, um, it's like a pile of like hubcaps or something from the various vehicles that are in there. She punches down as she passes, and it flips up, and she grabs it, one of the hubcaps, like a shield, and she's gonna uh, you mentioned in the last episode that the hammer was already cocked on her gun. So she, or yes, so she's going to run forward. She has her shield and she's going to shoot for the very first time at a being, her her weapon of the gunslinger, and she's going to aim at the exact same spot that Heather hit with her
Awesome.
light.
Everybody switch down to track number 2, my hero, when you get a chance. As you run forward, you are able to smash one of the hubcaps up and catch it from the backside, kind of grabbing one of the. It's almost inverted, really. You're holding it kind of with the concave side out, so you can have a purchase point, kind of like one of the fancier hubcaps, and you're holding on to it as you run forward, like a super soldier. And you take your shot. Roll me a d12 as you wield the power of the gunslinger. And then I also would like you to roll a move to see how far you can get.
10, 2 successes, and then a move. No successes.
Okay. So, I mean, you do move. It's not like you slip or fall or anything like that, but you don't really achieve the base of the pyramid if that's where
Yeah.
you're heading.
I
You know,
ain't
you get
parkouring.
right. You get closer. You get closer though. So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's a success in that respect. Um, Also, you feel your gun rig appear around your waist. Your other gun, your offhand gun, is dangling. The rest of you, Ricky, as you're kind of pulling yourself up, you would see just out of the materializing as the snow swirls. Once Scarlett's hips are empty, and then the snow swirls, and she is wearing her gun rig. As we go back around to Melissa, what do you do? You see the bullet strikes the same spot. And you see the creature recoil for a moment, but it doesn't say anything as it is not its turn. What would you like to do?
It's what is remind it's dark out. Is it daytime or is it nighttime? What's the situation?
You all figured that it's right around like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm. But it's dark or is it light?
it's light enough, but it's almost like it's dusk or I don't know, twilight.
I see what you did there, Greg.
What did I do?
Um, all right. Well, I think she's going to use her magic again. Um, but I'd like to imagine this time that as she wields her wand and flicks it at him, um, she wants to harness the light that is available in the environment. So if it's twilight, then that to me that means that the sun is behind them on the horizon. So I imagine that she's lit from behind by this great solar light.
Okay, I'm gonna make a deal with you here, Melissa.
Mm,
I'm gonna allow you to do this, and I'm gonna ask you this question.
mm.
If successful, do you want I will allow you to overcharge this. There's not a lot of light present. So if you want to take a round where you use your magic to basically drink in as much as you can,
Mm.
I will allow you to do that for a stronger result. Or you can just see what happens with what you can kind of muster in this round.
So we'll take what you're saying is take the round to charge, so to speak. Yeah, I love that. And if we can do a magical effect, then we'd see like a total anime moment similar to the waterfall where she lifts up slightly on her feet as she draws in the power.
Yep,
Nice.
everyone else would see as the feet of Heather lift up beyond the 8 inches of the snow, and the wind begins to whip around her. And as she is backlit by this light, you begin to see her equal the glow of the light around as her own radiance moves to eclipse that is around. And you feel a sense of intrigue from the top of the pyramid.
Hmm.
Chris, what do you want to do as Heather takes this moment to charge her power?
So Ricky was on the floor. Did he see the hit from Heather? And he saw that
Saw,
the guy was hit.
yep, saw both of them. Saw the hit, and then again in the same spot as Scarlet was able to pinpoint and shoot and hit the spot again. And you saw the creature recoil. It wasn't like it shrugged off the blast or anything like that, but it hasn't acted yet, so you're not sure. This is all not like D&D where we've got like 6 seconds and 6 seconds. This is like at the exact same time. It just we need an order in which everything happens.
Sure. Um, Ricky's going to push himself to his feet, and he looks across to Heather and sees that she's preparing for this and starts to see um, the visual of that. He's going to try and grab anything, a pipe or anything that he can swing.
How about a bow?
He would take a bow if he can get one, Greg.
You two, the Bow of Locksley, champion of the downtrodden and communists everywhere, appears on your back as you once again are the wielder, rightfully, of the Bow of Robin Hood.
As Ricky feels that on his back, he steps not directly in front of Heather, but enough that he could intercept anything that was sent her way, and he would drop to a knee and ready an arrow and fire it.
Then roll a d12 for me, my friend.
11.
Woo! So, as now, did you want to move as well? You say you want to
He's
close
moving
distance?
not close distance. He wants to be in front of Heather such that he could intercept anything that's going to try and stop her from doing what she's doing.
Gotcha. Okay, so you move as almost a defensive posture, and then closer to the pyramid still is Scarlet as she made her charge. And it's at that moment that kind of time catches up for the creature at the top of the pyramid, and the light hits and burns, and there's a strange smell. It's off-putting. It's like burning plastic. And you smell that for a second, and then the shot from the gunslinger gun hits the same spot, and you see the creature kind of flinch as it hits, and then it's immediately followed by a arrow. The arrow hits in the same spot, just three bullseyes, do, do, do. As the Keystones launch their attack on this creature, the arrow hits and the head of it disappears into the creature's chest, but the shaft cracks as the fletching splinters and sprays around it for a moment. And you all see the creature stand as it looks, and its posture does not, you realize now that it was relaxing, it was nonchalant. And you see that spine stiffen as it brings itself up to its full 6'5" height. And as it looks down at you all, it realizes, and you feel this, you smell it, because you can't see much that goes on with this creature. You smell that this creature understands that these are not normal folks in front. Heather, I need you to roll and empathize. And again, both hands raised this time as those blasts of black, inky musical notes fly out at both Scarlet and Ricky. I need move rolls from Scarlet and Ricky.
Can I use my newfound shield as a bonus?
Yeah. In fact, do me a favor, roll me a d6 before you do that. 1 to 3 is a +1. 4 to 6 is a +2. See how good your shield is.
6.
Pretty fucking good. You all are rolling
Yeah.
great. Thank God. This is
So
a
it's a
chance. We've got life, everybody.
Oh, Jesus. So it's a +2 shield.
Yep.
Okay. 1 success.
I need you to take 2 conditions.
Okay.
As both of you, Heather, you're in a bit of a kind of a fugue state as you sit there and are powering up, but you see Scarlet go down as she is blasted into the snow from the base of the pyramid, driven back nearly half of the charge that she made, 20, 25 feet in the snow, kind of coming to rest as a meteor. You're not out of the fight by any stretch of the imagination, Scarlet, but that is your third condition, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You see that, you know, Scarlet's hands are shaking, but they're still holding the gun. You are racked with pain. It's in every ounce of you, from your toes to your head. It's worse than anything you ever felt on the football field. But you can't feel where it's coming from. It feels like everywhere is where it's coming from, and you are heart hurt. You feel an absence. You feel a loss, and it's unidentifiable at first until you realize you can't remember making that pass, the one that won the game. And you all see as the creature pulls the notes back in, and in one of the last bits of note, you hear a couple chimes from Poison, Nothing But a Good Time, as the creature drags in whatever it had taken from Scarlet. Ricky, what did you get?
0.
I need you to take 2 conditions. As a blast that was meant for Heather hits you and drops you down to your knees, you're still in front of Heather. But again, this sense of loss, this sense of it's been, it's palpable. You're not sure how to define. You don't know what you've lost. You look around, you see your friends, you see Scarlet, you see Heather, you know them. But wasn't there somebody else? Scarlet, Heather, there was someone else. You no longer remember JD. As this creature pulls back in, for a moment, you all hear the laughter of your friend. Laughter that Scarlet, you remember as JD's, and Heather, you remember as JD's. But Ricky, you just hear a laugh. You're not sure whose it is. What was your role, Melissa?
It's 2. 2 successes on empathize.
For a moment, you feel as you're charging up, you feel this lethargy hit your soul. and you feel yourself wanting to freeze, to not move, to curl up, sort of like you did back in the closet of your foster home, so to speak. And you are able to fight it off with the sounds of the waterfall in the background, with the power raging inside of you. But you see your friends fall, and you see as the creature begins to mimic your own levitation as it lifts from its own feet and begins to descend the pyramid. We are back at the top of the order. Scarlet, what do you do?
Um, she's gonna hold her action.
What
She's
you
going
want to?
to she's gonna get up and like tears are like freezing onto her cheeks from the cold, and so she brushes them aside and she grips her shield and her gun. Uh, she's not going to shoot yet. She's going to move to cover,
Are you
but
covering
she's gonna
Heather
wait.
or Ricky or yourself?
Um, Herself, but she's not moving further away from the group. She's staying like if Ricky's in front of Heather, Scarlet is going to be up more ahead of and in front of Ricky.
Okay, so you're still taking point on the defense as
Yeah.
Scarlet is able to pull herself over. I'm not going to make you make a move roll or anything here. You're able to cover this distance easily as you hold your action for any attack that comes your friend's way. Melissa, Heather is fully charged, and you see your friends are hurting, perhaps worse than you've ever seen them hurt before, as there's noticeable damage to Scarlet as she moves a hero always and defends you, putting herself between you and Ricky. But which of the age of always, heir to the Mobius throne, what do you do?
And as Scarlet falls, I think she's calls out, "No, Scarlet!" And then yeah, she wants in that moment to um, shrink back, and she wants to close her eyes, but um, her memories go back to the last time she felt hope, which was in the paperback exchange with Miss Maggie, and Miss Maggie's message to them. Um, the words coming off of the page and glowing um, and spinning around her, and in at the same time, I think that's the form that the magic takes as the light fills her. The words "I believe in you" circling around and around in a similar fashion to the magical notes used by the Shadow Man. And I think she spins with them, and when enough energy has been built up, she sends all of that energy of hope and love uh, and light at the Shadow Man.
Roll me 2d12.
I'm willing to use everything here, by the way, so I don't know what pride would do.
Immediate success with a pride.
And do you want me to roll my dice as well, or
Well, you have one success. Roll your
okay?
dice to see what we add to it.
All right, so I got a
Remember,
9 and an 11 on my dice rolls, and then I have a success with my pride.
right, so that's 4 total because we have a high enough success on the D12 to give you 2. The 9 will give you 1. And then we have the with your pride, so that is a grand total of 4 successes.
Do we want to also add rolls in for my booklight?
Absolutely. Yeah, go.
Because we're using it all, right?
That's your focus. Yeah, absolutely. Please call. We have a lot of stuff in play here, people. Make sure.
And we have another success.
Fantastic. I love it. So that is 5 total successes. Describe to me as these words believe in you, all the words that were part of the titles and the spines of the books that Maggie, the Queen's witch, used before to communicate with you all, now become the offensive power of the newest witch, as Heather draws all of the light and all of the words and all of the love into herself and blasts it out in a focus from the itty bitty book light towards the creature as it's descending from the pyramid. It strikes the creature, and the creature wails, and you see the inky black in the same spot right over the heart where the everyone has landed a hit. It blisters away, and for a moment you see flesh, you see pink skin, and then it's gone. But the creature's levitation immediately ceases, and it drops to the ground hard. It falls back, and you think would have fallen on its back if the actual geometry of the pyramid didn't keep it leaning. I need you to make me a force roll as a wave of energy comes back at you. This darkness, this dirge music, almost in a retaliatory strike.
No
How is he
successes.
how is he firing this magic?
In this respect, you don't know. It almost looks like it was automatic. As soon as Heather was hit, this pulse comes out of it. Boom. You see it affect the tree line. You see as snow comes off the trees in the distance. It's almost like a sonic boom. But Ricky and Scarlett, you don't feel it as it passes over you, but you watch as Heather gets blasted from her perch, the words spinning away as they burn up like paper in a fire. I need you to take 2 conditions as you drop to the ground.
She'll be upset and injured, I think, as she falls to the ground. Uh, she her head hits the ground, and her glasses fall off, and one of the lenses shatters.
And you feel more than the others, Heather, there is a physical injury that has occurred, and you don't know what, but it's something in your chest. It's something. Sorry, it's hard to say. It's something that feels like it broke, and you, Ricky and Scarlett, watch as blood sprays from the mouth and nose of Heather as she hits the ground, and it's kind of comes to rest, making the snow around pink as her glasses hit the ground beside her. Um, Ricky,
As he sort of hits the ground, does you said he hits the ground and he leans up against the pyramid. Does he look disorientated at all from that?
you can't tell. There's no way to really read anything that it appears that this creature doesn't want you to read. You can smell certain things, you can tell when it's looking at you, but as far as pain or disorientation or confusion or stunned, you're not sure. But this is the first time you haven't seen it standing upright, if that makes any difference. It's definitely compromised in that it's leaning back.
Okay. Ricky's going to see this as an opportunity to try and close the distance to get right up to him. If he can reach him, his goal is to almost tackle him and hold his arms to himself.
Okay. Roll me a move roll. You're gonna just like Scarlet, you're going to make progress, but this is basically like, can you get up the pyramid?
I'd like to use luck, Greg, to reroll
Please,
that.
please do so.
Oh, geez, no successes.
I think that's the first time I've ever failed a luck reroll.
As Ricky moves forward, Ricky, you feel more injured perhaps than you thought. As you stumble forward, your legs are weak. They are It's the snow. They're chilled. The circulation's poor, but there's also a weakness about this. As you stumble forward, I'm going to say though that you make it through the snow to the base of the pyramid. The For references point for everybody here, Ricky is now at the base of the pyramid. Scarlet and Heather have pulled back. Scarlet being forced back. Ricky's made the base, and maybe 15 feet, 20 feet at an angle is the creature, like two kind of steps of the pyramid up from where Ricky is. So Ricky's the closest, but you all probably have a better view of them. Ricky could still shoot if he needs to, but I mean, it's you all can see this kind of playing out from the distance that you have back from all this. And the creature, if you have anything else to do, bud, you want to try anything?
Um, no, I don't think he'd try and fire at this point. He's trying to get to him. That was his only goal.
I tell you what, if you want to kind of burn more movement instead of having an action, I will allow you to kind of essentially dash if that's something you
Yeah.
would like to do.
Yep.
Yep. So give me another movement roll.
Another move roll. Wow. That's 6, 12. That's 18 dice with no sixes.
We're going to say though, because this was I'm not going to have you not have any type of movement or forward momentum. You're able to kind of climb up, and it's so difficult as you kind of post up and push like you're getting out of a pool. Ricky lands and kind of slips and is looking up at the next level above where this creature is now righting itself. And it is going to attack Heather and Scarlet because it certainly knows Ricky is a threat, but it suffered more damage from the other two.
He's gonna shoot as he's preparing to like gather himself. She's intentionally trying to interrupt him.
Okay. So I tell you what, at the same time, I want you to roll your D12. And I also need you to roll move rolls for both Heather and Scarlet.
One success.
Your successes.
And I'll move. No successes. I'm gonna use my luck to re-roll that move.
Okay, please.
2 successes.
Whew. Okay, so with 2 successes, you take 1 condition. Heather, you take 2 conditions
Can
as
I
this. Please.
fuck things up a little bit?
Oh, I'd love to hear. Yes.
Um, she was waiting to cover an attack being made, and maybe she tells that he glances at Heather. So her 2 successes, she's transferring to Heather, and she is throwing her she like it's like she throws the shield up to try and block the or deflect a portion of the attack.
I will 100% allow that. Heather, you do not take any damage, but Scarlet, you will be knocked out. So
All right, I've been kind of saving this idea for
Sure. You did get your shot off too, because you
yes,
did shoot and then
I did shoot. I got 1 success for my shot.
right.
This is kind of like a roll for bullshit. I only have
There's no
1
such
luck.
thing.
Yeah, I only have 1 luck, and I just spent it to re-roll that. Is it possible to permanently burn that 1 luck point?
Excuse me, now what now?
I
You want
wanna
to
permanently burn that luck point so I don't gain it back.
And what do you get in return for that? The ability to do just one more roll?
Yeah, to essentially re-roll my move roll again or something else.
I tell you what, re-roll your move roll, but we're
Mhm.
keeping the 2 successes that you have. And then if you're gonna do that, then I wanna give you something more than just an extra roll.
No.
Here's what
No.
I'm going to propose. And again, if you wanna keep your luck point, I'll still allow you to do it since there wasn't really an additional success there. You're going to prevent any damage from getting through to Heather.
Mhm.
But instead of being knocked out and for all intents and purposes out of the fight, I will allow you to stay upright. You will have 4 conditions instead of the 5 that would knock you out, but you are hurting. But this is
Mhm.
Scarlett's pride, not pride, this is Scarlett's determination, the same determination that allowed her to get on the football field, that got her to play, that got her on the high school team. This is that same determination that you now forget that you ever did as those accomplishments are ripped from you. But the one accomplishment that cannot be ripped from you is the fact that your friend behind you is unscathed from the attack. And Heather, you will watch as Scarlett jumps in front, throwing the shield as the hubcap is ripped away by this blast because of both the awkward kind of move that worked, but again, it hit and just kind of twisted and wrenched Scarlett's body. As Scarlett, you drop to the ground, you're still up on one knee, but you are bleeding as well. You feel it from your left ear as blood comes down off of the lobe. And Heather, you see your friend as she is wobbling and she's trying to stand.
Yeah, she's trying to push herself up. Maybe maybe blood from a head wound is starting to leak down her her neck and onto her shoulder.
You see the creature pull itself up to its full height. The attacks that were meant for both Scarlet and Heather thwarted by Scarlet's sacrifice. And the creature looks around, just a brief, this is all happening in beats of the heart. It looks around and you can all sense that it smiles as you see this kind of disturbance on its chest begin to slowly get darker and darker, and the ink creeps across it once again. It looks around and you all hear in your minds, even though you can't see a mouth open, "You have proven formidable, and for that your prize is oblivion." And it raises its hands.
Till all are one, you will stand down.
The creature turns and looks at the face of the newcomer. It looks confused for a moment. You smell the confusion. You smell the absence of, I don't know, cockiness. The arrogance seems to dissipate for a moment. "Wait, who are you?"
I am the inheritor of my father's spark and the protector of Garrett Prime. But most of all, I am the son of a witch who's gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things that's ever happened in this show. Friends, I would like to welcome Frags playing and reprising the role of Rob Ott, original founding member of the Autobots from Atari Twilight. And he is here. But before we understand why he is here, we have to look back and see what has happened. So, everybody, take a pause as we flash back 15, 20 minutes. Rob, Maggie is in the chair. She is gone. Her body still sits there, but you are in the paperback exchange. The paramedics are on their way. You can hear the distant sound of the ambulance, but again, the snow is packed and it'll be difficult for them to get here in a timely manner. And you are alone for a moment. Uh, More so maybe than ever, as the paperback exchange has lost its caretaker or one of its caretakers. But then you hear a voice from behind you. I am what remains of your mother's magic. What do you do, my friend?
He's gonna turn around and just say, "Hello." Does he see anybody, or does he just feel and hear the presence?
You see a beautiful young woman. She is standing in the dress that you saw Maggie wear in 1969 with it's long and flowy with a flower child skirt. Um, I'm here to help you. I'm your mother's magic. All that's left, really.
"M- Mom, well, what do you mean all that's left? Where's the rest of it?"
I I'm not what I once was. I'm just a dash of magic. All that remains. She wanted me to help you. I suppose that's what you can call me. Dash.
And she looks just like young Maggie.
Well, she's dressed like young Maggie, but she
Okay,
looks like her own person. Yeah.
okay. Um, what do I need to do? What's wrong? Help me with what? I'm so lost right now.
She moves
She's gone.
forward.
You're here.
She shakes her head when you say that she's gone. No, no, don't grieve. She's returned to the waterfall. And she will return when her light is needed. Magic and the witches that wield it are never truly gone.
But I
You're,
need her. I need her now. She can't just leave me alone. It's just me. What if they come back?
it's us. I'm here. I can help you. And your mother and your father left you one last thing.
What?
Do you want it?
Oh, I'm not. I'm not gonna say no.
She lifts her hands and a dim light creeps through the paperback exchange. And everybody, if you could play track number 13, nice and low, if you will. She lifts her arms, and this glow encompasses everything, but it focuses on the crystals. And the crystals that hang throughout the paperback exchange begin to swirl and tingle. And they break free of the fishing line holding them, and they rush together, combining to form a box. And there is something inside. And you hear the voice of Maggie. Your birthright, my son. There is a place where dreams survive, calling you to victory. And as the box begins to spin closer towards you, this box of crystal and light, you hear the voice of Optimus. The great wheel has turned to the final age. Your time has come, my son. Go, light our darkest hour. Arise, Robimus Prime. Inside the box of crystals, wrapped with the love of your parents, lies the Autobot Matrix of Leadership, pulled from the comic books of the paperback exchange by Maggie like the other weapons of legend, and infused with the might of the legendary Prime, Optimus. Rob, you are now Garrett's only defender and the wielder of all of the knowledge gained by all of the heroes that have come before you. Dash, the last remnants of your mother's magic, staggers for a moment and the crystals clink as the box kind of shudders in front of you. Rob, the kids that were here with Maggie, they're dying. The nothing has them. What do we do?
Where are they?
And we cut to the Glen as the mag truck graveyard, and the rest is history as the last Autobot faces the nothing that is facing Garrett. Rob, you have just arrived, and this is a sneak attack, my friend. What would you like to do?
Well, as Rob kind of comes out of the darkness per se and steps into the fight, he's gonna just take his right hand and almost force push straight center mass of this guy as he finishes telling him to stand down, or actually finishes telling him who he is. And it's gonna be like almost like a light as in spectral light concussive blast just straight into him.
Roll me 2d12, my friend, as you launch your attack versus this creature. Oh, if you want to use the drop down on the side, but that's probably the easiest. If you want to see.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Yep. The very last thing on the left-hand side, you'll see it says dice. If you click on that, it'll bring up your roller, and you can do 2d12 and 2.
Okay, is it not doing the same thing as it used to?
It's just doing your right now. It's just doing the figure that you sliced in there. So it's easier just to go over to that dice thing on the side. There's on the thing with the hand and the pointer all the way at the bottom. It'll say dice on the left hand side, and if you click that,
Yeah.
it'll bring up the roller. Yep.
I see it. You're so smart, Greg.
Is he in Atari Twilight Age of Always?
No.
He's in Atari Twilight, the actual roller, the Autobot side.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
18 total. 11 and a 7.
11 and a 7 as 3 successes launch towards this creature. And again, this creature had just started its recuperative movement as this light pounds into it, as again, it's almost like focused from the very reality that is Garrett as Rob attacks. And Ricky, you feel this creature pushed as it almost reverberates through the pyramid. It hits, and you see some of the snow kind of rock off the top of it as it turns, and the attack that it was going to launch at the entirety of all of you is thwarted as it spins and drops to one knee, stunned for this round. Let us start again from the top. Rob, you are going to go last as we go through Scarlet, Heather, Ricky, and Rob as the creature is unmoving, at least for a moment, down on one knee. The culmination of quite a few hits in the last couple moments. Oh, you're muted, G.
Am I muted?
Now you are. Now you're fine now.
Okay,
You're fine
sorry, I
now.
was just talking quietly then. Okay. Yeah, she's going to use her pride. She's
Oh,
gonna
I almost forgot. I need Rob, if he would. Rob, what is your best skill? I'm pretty sure it was your mind and something else, but what is your one that has the most dice associated with it? I'm pretty sure for you, let me double
You're
check.
muted.
I mean, it would be
Empathize. I think it's
okay.
empathize.
Empathize, yeah.
Roll that one for me.
Okay. Let me get to it. One success.
One success. 5 conditions may be taken off of any of the keystones. As Rob arrives, an aura surrounds him, produced by the matrix of leadership. My friends, you have 5 conditions to be removed. Rob can dictate who loses what. You can talk amongst yourselves for a moment. How would you like to delineate these 5 heals?
I feel like it should be up to them with how they feel about my arrival.
Very good.
Who has what? Scarlet is broken? Is Scarlet
No,
done?
I'm just injured. Frags, what do we see of Rob when he appears? Like,
He no longer has his park on. He's got a long sleeve shirt that just it says paperback exchange on it. He's still wearing his work clothes essentially. But he's got shorter red hair. He's got his glasses on, but he's got about a half. It looks like the old mask that he used to wear back when he was a kid, but it's only a half mask now. And just regular blue jeans and snow boots.
I love that Rob is still practical and has snow boots on. Where so
Of
many
course.
other people.
Have
be
you
like
tried walking? Yeah,
Right.
yeah. He didn't have time to switch into his superhero outfit.
The greatest. Okay, so my friends, you have, as Rob has arrived, you have 5 heals to spread amongst yourselves. Mike has put into the chat 4, 3, and 2 spread between all of you.
I
How
say
do you feel?
my suggestion would be 1 to Ricky, 2 to Heather, and 2 to Scarlet.
My suggestion would be 3 to Scarlet, 1 to Heather, and 1 to Ricky. And the reason is, sorry for mechanicsy, Scarlet's not going to hit with a force. She's not. I mean, sorry, Heather's not going to hit with a force. Scarlet and Ricky can. So Heather only has magic really to help. And so
Well, I'm using the D12, so
I'd also say Ricky is distracted. He hasn't seen Rob. Rob's behind him. So it makes sense for Scarlet and Heather to take.
You all just
All
let
right.
me know.
Let's go with G's suggestion and do 2, 2, 1.
Then remove all of the conditions based on that. Scarlet would be down to 2, Heather down to 1, and Ricky down to 1. As this magic of Maggie May begins to course through all of you. So let's start from the top. Now that you have this newfound invigoration, what would you like to do, Scarlet?
She was down on one knee and she glances over her shoulder and she sees Rob and she just goes like her face just kind of like lights up with surprise, and she turns back to the nothing and she just mutters under her breath like, "You're going down, dickhead." And she put it like a runner out of the starting block. She launches forward and she's going to shoot at him.
Are you trying to close the distance for a move roll, or is this just kind of a flavor for you to just like jump up and move, or are you trying to close like
It's more
join
for
Ricky?
flavor. She doesn't.
Okay,
She's got a ranged weapon. She doesn't need to get up too close.
gotcha. So roll me your d12, please, as you fire off. Now I'll give you the same option that I gave to Heather. If you want to essentially charge up, and that means pull your other gun out and aim with both of the guns, I will allow you to do that for a round. The result of that would be, as Heather had, was 2d12 in one particular round, which I will let you know this: the more successes that hit in a given round, the better it is than cumulative successes, if that makes sense. Expect that at the end of every round, he gets a little bit of healing. So the more that you can pile on in one particular round, the better. I didn't hear you what you said, Jake.
Yeah, sorry. That's what she will do. She will, because she no longer has the shield, so now she has her free hand. She's going to leap up and run, basically to be a moving target. And she's going to draw both guns.
So as you draw and both of the guns are out, you begin to aim as you're kind of flanking the area, drawing eyes, drawing attention, just the motion itself, not necessarily aggressive, but definitely if there's a threat assessment going on, this creature has to take you into consideration as you move to attack. Heather.
I think she's on the ground, right? So she'll stand up and wipe blood off of her face. Her glasses are still on the ground, as well as her itty bitty booklight. She doesn't pause to look at Rob, I think, given what they're doing. But she's going to draw her sword, the Vorpal sword. And can we do this again, where we do two things in a round? So so she'll take a moment again to pull in the power of the light, thinking as she does about the words that she mentioned to the other two on their walk here, and that is there's always hope out there, and so she's going to look for the constellation, and that's it. That'll be it for her round.
Very good. And I should make mention, because it's only fair of me to do so, that I did say that the creature was stunned. So do not expect a move from the creature this round mechanically, just to make that completely clear. So if anybody wants to do a charge maneuver like Scarlet and Heather have done, that is open to both Ricky and Rob. So as we drop down to Ricky, what would you like to do? As you're at the base of the pyramid looking up and you see the creature moving definitely in a more erratic, less confident fashion with the arrival of Rob, because you saw a blast and a voice that you don't recognize coming from behind you, but you're, like you mentioned, you're fixated on the target, so you haven't technically seen Rob. What would you like to do, my friend?
So from memory, Ricky was one step below him on the
Correct.
thing.
Yep, you're
So
at one tier
Ricky's
below.
One tier below, perfect. And these are about chest high, is that right?
A
Roughly.
little bit more, yeah. You got to kind of jump up and hop and pull yourself up. So they're probably like 7-8 feet.
And he had dropped down to a knee, is that correct?
Yeah.
Ricky wants to jump and grab anything on him, like as if he was wearing a shirt, he would grab the shirt and then use everything he can to pull him backwards and throw him down the pyramid.
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll me a force here, as you are going to be able to clear this moment.
Let's go. Let's go.
Wow. Can I use my pride here, Greg?
You
To
absolutely
take a
can.
success. I'll burn my pride for that.
And because the creature is stunned, its resistances are down. And so you all see as Ricky jumps up and grabs the ink. And when you grab the ink, you start to see it creeping up your fingernails, to your knuckles, to your hand, in the back of your hand and back of your palm. As you grab it, you use the kind of the lip or the edge where you would normally push yourself off, and you push backwards and fling this creature over your head. As it goes with you. It's not necessarily heavy. It's strange. It's heavy enough, like like you were lifting a human, but it almost seems like it should be denser, but it isn't. And you all watch as Ricky, kind of almost like a suplex, throws this thing over its head, and it starts to fly the extra tier down towards the ground. Rob, what would you like to do?
I want to catch him in midair and hit him with a stunner. RKO out of nowhere, baby.
That's right. You never know when the Viper's going to strike. Buddy, do me a favor and let's see, roll me a force. But
Yeah.
again,
I fully expect this to not go the way I'm hoping it does. These are completely untested powers, and Rob's never done this before. He just watches wrestling.
Never let
That's
him know your
exactly.
next move.
But roll me a force, and then I need you to roll me a d12 after you roll your force.
2 successes on the force.
Yep, 2 successes.
And you said 2 d12s?
Just 1 d12.
Straight up.
12.
Oh, baby.
Ooh, fuck yeah.
So almost like the tag team champs or somebody that has worked together through matches eternal, as Ricky throws this kind of like belly to belly suplex off of the top of or the second level of the pyramid out of nowhere. No one saw it coming as Rob closes the distance and throws this neck breaker. For anybody that is not really sure what a stunner or an RKO is, Rob reaches up and almost over his own shoulder grabs the head of this creature and using both body weights drive them both into the snow, into the ground. And when it hits, you all see a flash of, and it's not brilliant because it's so dull, but darkness almost splashes out of this thing as it coats the snow. You see it and it goes everywhere. You see that Rob has it all over him like something popped, almost like a balloon. Instead of filled with water, it's filled with ink as it just sprays over the side of Rob, coating half of his face in a bizarre yin yang type of look. And as he's laying there for a moment, the creature is still stunned and then has been stunned, is lying there on its back as we don't have a turn for it and go to the top of the round again with G. G, you have 2d12 since you've been aiming, and your aim is pretty fucking great.
Yeah, it is. She is gonna
Yeah, it
move
is.
closer.
Yeah, it fucking is, Greg. Yeah, of course it is. You don't
Yeah,
tell me
actually, it
that.
is. So
Don't
she's
tell me what I
going
already
to,
know. Right.
yeah. She's gonna move a little closer because now technically the two boys are standing there and he's on the ground, so he's like a prone figure. So she's gonna run up a some piles of junk and and she's gonna leap into the air and she's gonna shoot down at this motherfucker.
Let's do it.
Let's go. 1 success. And I'm gonna add my pride for 2 successes.
Okay. So in total, everybody, for the round of stunning and this current round, just so everybody knows that we are currently up to 8 successes on this character or this creature as we go to Melissa, who is also charging up. What would you like to do?
So Heather is going to not charge with the weapon, but instead point it at him, and using that as a focus, send this power of light. But this time it's joined with the crackling energy of the um, uh, the Vorpal crackling lightning energy, right? So surrounding it.
Snicker snack. Yep.
Snicker snack. So I will roll 2
2d12.
d12.
Yep. 2d12,
Let's go.
please.
Fuck him up.
Okay, so that was once. Can I use luck to re-roll that first one?
You sure can.
All right, I'm gonna do that. Can I push to roll that one again?
Sure.
All right.
You just have to take in condition, but that's it.
I will. So she is injured and now she's going to be scared again.
Okay.
Oops. Okay, so 2 successes.
Very good. I'm going to go through everybody before we see what happens as I am doing some mental math. Ricky, as you turn, you see a figure that you met maybe once before. And again, this person was much younger the last time that you met, 8 years to be exact, maybe even a little more. He looks a little bit older. But you see the devastating combo effect of the 2 attacks that you had just levied. And for a moment, as you look into the face of Rob, your mind whispers to you, just as that splash goes off, just as like that blackness kind of sprays everywhere, you look at the newcomer and you think to yourself, is that JD? But what do you do now, my friend?
He is on the floor. Rick, oh no, that's a bad idea.
There are no bad ideas. You guys just did a belly-to-belly suplex off a supernatural creature into a stunner. There's no bad ideas, friend.
And then he just got shot.
well,
There's a lot going on.
I don't know, Greg. Does Ricky have the crystal on him since the bow came back?
Yes, since the rematerialization, you do have the crystal because that was in your possession before you left. This is the one from Bubo.
Yeah. And how big was that crystal?
It was Bubo could carry it, so it was probably like 3 or 4 inches long. Maybe like I mean, it's a larger crystal, but you've seen Miss Maggie's and stuff. She has like stalactites. So this is like 3 or 4 inches long and probably as thick around as like a paper towel roll.
Okay, and Ricky doesn't recognize Rob as connected. Oh no, he would recognize him as connected to Miss Maggie, right? From the paperback exchange.
Yeah, you just saw him, yeah. But
just saw him
again,
recently.
Right.
He's only forgotten JD. Ricky's gonna take out the crystal.
You motherfucker, you named yourself Rob Cornelius Ott. I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
Sorry. And Ricky's going to give that to Rob. Because Rob is right there. Yes. And he looks to Rob and says, I believe this is for you. And he's going to hand out the crystal to Rob.
Well, you're still a little bit higher, so you can throw it to him if you want.
Oh, Ricky's still above, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's going to throw the crystal down to Rob.
Okay. So what I want you to do here is, my friend, I want you to roll a... I'm going to let you do this. Roll me a D12. And let's just see what that does.
8.
Rob, you see this crystal coming towards you. You know crystals about as well as anybody now, now that Maggie's gone. But you see this crystal coming flying towards you, and you have one action here before the creature is unstunned. What would you like to do?
Am I still on the ground parallel with the creature after the hit and look up and see the crystal coming towards me, right?
You guys are basically like head to head right now. So its head's like right here and its body's going this way, and you're lying like this after having just delivered the RKO Rob Cornelius.
Which, to be fair, I named myself that because I came out of nowhere. The RKO was just circumstantial. Thanks, Ricky.
Yeah, sure. Just so happened to work out.
It just so happened to work out. So he's gonna catch it and turn and kind of come up on a knee and take that crystal and jam it into this thing's head.
Very good, my friend. You roll me a D12 as well.
Let's go. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna see that roll. Let's go. Let's go.
I was staring at the chat, wondering why can't I see it?
That was a 1.
That was a 1.
Would you like to use your luck?
I do. Yes, I do want to do that. Yes.
And everybody's saying right now, wait a minute, Rob's too old for luck. Rob has 1 luck.
I have 1 luck, and I rolled an 11.
Yes.
So, Keystones and Robimus Prime, as this combo move comes in, as again 1 success is thrown with the crystal as Rob grabs it and brings it down onto the creature, just as the 2 shots hit into it, just as the light from the Vorpal Snicker Snack combines with the eldritch energy of the Vorpal Blade, and it strikes this creature true. And you all hear, as the creature begins to sizzle, the creature says, I have no time for this, but your faces are known to me. and you see it melt into the earth.
Scarlett's gonna unleash him a couple more shots into the, if she can, before he goes.
Roll me d12. You need a 12 here.
Mm-hmm.
Please roll 12.
Would have been fucking awesome, but no.
Just as its head goes into the snow, just as like the tip of what would be its nose kind of goes past that plane, right where its eyes would have been in this humanoid head that's featureless, you see a shot hit the snow and dirt, just as Scarlet needed just one more beat to be able to shoot this thing.
Mike
My
brings
friend?
up a good point in chat, Greg. Is he melting or is he splashing?
Like Homer Simpson through a bush, like phasing.
Do our ears
Rob.
pop?
Rob, no, your ears do not pop.
Okay.
Rob, roll me a comprehend.
Okie dokie.
And yeah, roll me a comprehend.
1 success.
He just dove. You know it. You've done it. This is something that Mitch used to do. He just dove.
After she misses her shots, Rob's gonna pull his mask down and scream at her, "Take a good look, motherfucker!" and just start punching the ground where he just melted into. Rob is
Fantastic, my
not in a
friends.
good space.
As Rob is punching the ground, having just lost his mom, Maggie, I'm going to take this moment as a GM to let the Keystones know what has just occurred. I'm not going to tell you what would have happened if you had gone north. But because you went south, Rob faced this creature with you. If you had not gone south, he would have faced it alone. And I can tell you this right now, at the very least, the Autobots would have lost the paperback exchange, all of its secrets, all of its magic would have been gone. The HQ, the Sancta Sanctorum of both the Autobots and the Keystones would have been eradicated from this and every world. But you all saved that today. My friends, as the snow swirls and you are all cold, you are back in Garrett. What do you do?
I think Scarlet kneels down as Rob is punching the ground. And she doesn't say anything to him, but she just kind of crouches next to him and she just puts a hand on his shoulder. Just to let him know that he's not alone. And she just kind of sits there like one knee, maybe her chin is resting on her knee and her hands up on his shoulder, and he, as he's punching the ground, and she's just present.
Y'all want some tea? And Rob's gonna kind of start making his way back to the paperback exchange.
Rob, as you say that and start walking away, you hear a voice, the voice of Dash, the bit of magic that Maggie has left. And she, invisible to everybody else, she is looking at these newcomers, to Scarlet, to Ricky, and a lot towards Heather, as she says to Rob, they're from where I'm from.
Rob's gonna stop. Where's that?
The age of always. It's where magic comes from. Well, most of it. And she looks at Heather. She's been in the waterfall. She's been with your mom.
And he's gonna look at him, and then he's gonna signal for him to follow him and said, "No, y'all need some tea." He's gonna try to get him to, follow him back to the paperback exchange, because there's definitely a conversation that's gonna need to be had.
Yeah.
You do.
Heather's gonna help Scarlet up off the ground. Are you okay, Scarlet? Can't
Yeah.
hear you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't think so. But yeah. And then she's gonna help Ricky up.
Ricky's up on the
Okay.
the pyramid.
She's gonna
He
push
starts
him
to work
down
his
and then
way
help him up.
Ricky's on the top turnbuckle with the belt. man.
Okay,
This ladder
she'll
match
hold her
is
hand
over.
out to Ricky so he could grab it and jump down.
Yeah, he jumps down,
And then they'll it's like, Heather, are
belts
you
over the
okay?
shoulder, and goes.
Are you okay,
Yeah.
Heather?
I don't think so. And her hands are covered in blood, and she's still got smeared blood on her face. And
She's going
she
to she reaches down and rips part of her shirt, like the strip that people do in movies all the time. And she uses the strip from her shirt to wipe the blood off Heather's hands.
I don't. Do you see my glasses? Like he's leaving, and I can't leave my glasses here. Do you see them?
Ricky searches for them.
Heather,
Here we
or-
go.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll help.
you quickly find them.
They're-
One side
Right
packed
on.
with snow, but
Hope they're all right.
Thanks. Thanks. All right, let's go.
They'll follow Rob, and I think they're all limping. I don't know how injured Ricky is, but
He's fine.
Scarlet and Heather are injured.
we'll say for the sake of the narrative that as you all are walking and when you get there, the paramedics have taken Maggie. There is a note left at the paperback exchange. There's messages on the old like reel-to-reel cassette answering machine that's in there. Basically people asking, where Rob is he okay? People are concerned now that they found, Maggie had expired. It didn't seem to be, nefarious by any stretch of the imagination, but, Rob wasn't there when the paramedics arrived. So there's kind of a, people looking for Rob, so to speak, but you all get there and it's sort of like the last place they would look for Rob is the paperback exchange now that they've kind of realized he's not there. But Maggie's no longer there. At least her remains are no longer there when you arrive.
So when we get there, Rob's gonna ask, where have you been? I've
What?
seen you here before in Garrett. Where
Do
have
you
you been?
remember us? Do you remember us?
Something tells me I should, but I don't really remember that many details.
You were
Played a chess game.
you were 14?
Oh. Well, yeah. Wait. Heather?
Yeah.
Well, where have you been?
Heather blushes and then she just looks at Scarlet, expecting Scarlet to fill in the answers.
Yeah, when he says, "Well, where were you?" Scarlet kind of looks down. We were in a place called the Age of Always.
Did you dive there?
She shakes her head. No, I don't know what we did. Well, technically she doesn't know what diving is, so she would say, "I don't know what that is," but we went with Randall Flagg.
He is not gonna enjoy that answer. You guys are playing with Flag. That's not super cool given the situation we were just in. That was probably likely his doing, right?
It's complicated. He told us he was out to stop what was affecting Garrett.
He's the reason this is happening to Garrett.
How?
Did you see any of the others? Did you see Mitch,
Yeah.
Van Halen, any of them? Oh, he's alive. Holy shit.
Van Halen is the one who sent us here. Yeah.
Was Mitch getting my messages? Did he mention anything about hearing from me or anything?
No, he's weird now. He's weird. He doesn't. He's weird.
Now?
He's the Wizard of Oz. And I'm not joking.
I saw your other friends there too.
A whole bunch of them.
Like butts, Ben?
Yeah.
Out of game quickly, was Scarlet conscious when Ben showed up?
Yes. Wait. No. No.
I can't remember.
Well, remember
I
when
thought.
when Bumblebee showed up and the car drove up, Roland got out.
Yeah, but
But we saw him get in the
we saw
car.
him. He's like, I'm making my attack run, and he.
Yes, you saw that. You saw that.
Okay,
yes.
so she knows that Ben was there. Okay.
And that Ben would be roughly the same age as this Rob. This Rob seems a little bit older though than that Ben.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ben was there, and the whole shitload of Jerry's and George's.
You know how to get back?
She
Heather
looks
glances at
over.
Ricky.
Ricky nods in the back. If I can find the road.
And she turns back to Rob. Eternity Road. It's how we travel, or how Ricky can travel.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
Rob's gonna reach around the counter and pull out a more modern looking walkie-talkie that's like neon looking, see-through controller, Game Boy type stuff all over it. And it's got like 3 crystals, 2 of them duct taped to the side and one of them just tied onto the antenna with wire. Can you take me?
We have to find
Find
it
the
first.
road.
Well, we need to
But-
figure out how to do that.
Ricky looks to Scarlett and Heather. Weren't we told we needed to come back here? And,
Yeah,
and
but-
now we're gonna leave?
You don't have to come with me if you just want to show me where to go.
Came back,
It's-
Ricky. We're
I think that
here.
guy did something.
I mean, what? You guys are still like 12. You probably shouldn't go.
I'm 14.
Hey.
Whatever.
And
Ricky, roll me a d12.
I have an idea for how we can locate the thingy dingy.
Secret.
As you were.
Well, we have to come and help you because Lion's there and Bitchy VH is there and Lang's
Technically
there.
my house.
Yeah, and your dad is there.
And really, you can't get there without us anyway. So
Yeah, Ricky has to go with you, and Ricky's not going to go, or Ricky's not going without us.
Well,
As
right, Ricky?
You know,
Okay.
As in
Considering
we're gonna go where Ricky goes.
considering all the weird shit I did when I was a kid, I guess that's fine.
So where is it, Ricky?
Yeah, Ricky, where is it?
outside, I can tell you that much. But what has been going on?
Well,
What has happened in the last however many years? 8 years?
it's a little tough to explain, honestly. And I really don't know where to begin. When I came back, Mitch was gone, and everybody just kind of stopped caring.
He took the loop, right?
Yeah,
That's what Flag told us.
yeah, he rode the loop into a swan dive, I guess you could call it, and I don't really know where he's currently at, but I know where it ends.
Where does it end? What?
Yeah, it's a whole looping time thing that's kind of hard to explain because it already happened, but it hasn't yet. And well, I need to pull him out of it. We all need to. But you said George and Jerry are already there and Ben. So I don't know if I've just been left out or if it's their alternates.
Do you remember JD?
No, I barely remember you guys. I'm sorry. It's been
That
over a decade.
yeah, then that's okay because when you guys popped back in to Garrett on the rooftop of the mall, um, we technically weren't really introduced very well. And then Ricky and I went with George and Jerry, and you went with Shannon and Mitch and Heather and JD. So, oh yeah, good question. Do we remember JD?
You certainly do. Ricky does not.
Okay.
But for Rob too, and Frags is doing an incredible job here of trying to fill in blanks without ruining any narrative. But you probably would remember that there was another person there. But again, you know,
Yeah, I'm just basing off of like kind of myself. I have a hard time remembering faces and people. So
yep, nothing nefarious. You just this is
yeah,
just,
yeah. This
time.
is
And
just a time frame thing.
Greg,
He was the one that was really smart.
Yeah, he said all the smart things, apparently.
Oh, and he's gonna point at Heather, your friend, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess I know of him. I remember being around him, but I don't know what his middle name is.
Well,
did you know a Wendy? Because Wendy, when she seemed to remember things, was really angry with Mitch.
Wait, he couldn't remember things and she was mad with him?
No, she couldn't remember, and then
Nobody could
the
remember.
yeah, and then a boulder hit the
Look,
tower, and then
I
she
spent a
remembered.
lot of I spent a lot of time in this paperback exchange with Maggie. My memory is not nearly what it should be. She was from the 60s.
I'm sorry about Maggie, by the way.
Yeah, it's still kind of processing, but luckily I'm finding a way to get over it, or not get over it, get through it.
Mr. Ott, I think we should go to the Age of Always, but I think you should know that we don't even know if your friends are good people.
I brought up JD because he was leading them. He was like their general, and they were attacking Emerald City,
Those are alternates.
and
They have to
Casey
be.
was defending it. He called himself Casey, not Mitch.
But
Also, just to clarify too, the only like Autobot that you saw that was older and not the age that you remember was Ben. All of the Georges, all of the Jerrys, all of them were still kids.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
do we know if it's your friend that was the wizard? He kind of half looks to Scarlet.
Well, didn't he tell us that one time that he was the only one left? I just whatever the hell that means. I don't know.
I don't know. I bet Mr. Ott would know if he met him. We don't know him
Yeah.
well enough.
And you're talking about your JD fella? Rob's still
Left.
very confused.
He left.
He left.
He just disappeared one night. And that's when all this shit started happening to us.
Well,
And
this
the next time we saw him, he's leading this army, attacking the city. Oh, sorry, he was attacking Loop, which was the Emerald City.
Yeah, yeah, your friends with our friend were attacking the city against Mitch, who's your age.
those weren't my friends.
Well, they weren't his friends either because, they were throwing boulders at him.
But Ben was there. And I
Roll
know it
me
was
a
my Ben.
D12, Ricky. As you were.
I do have an idea for locating at least the direction of the road when the time comes. So, yeah. But I know that
Ricky looks to Rob and says, however, whichever side it's on, it seems like you might be able to end that war, whether it's for right or wrong. So I guess I better get you to the Age of Always.
and the crystal. JD had the crystal that
Oh, there's plenty of crystals.
That was Bubo's crystal.
Oh, is it Bubo? Oh, sorry. I assumed that JD gave it to him.
Oh no, Ricky doesn't remember JD.
Oh, right. Shit.
Ricky looks and goes, let me go outside. Let me see if I can figure out which direction is the road. And he's going to take his leave and go outside.
Roll me another D12 since you're out there. It seems like just walking outside, you hear a whisper on the wind. Now that you can feel the wind, now that you can hear the crunch of the snow, actually, no, because Rob had shoveled off this area that you're standing on. So as you're looking out into the still pelting snow, you can see the tracks of where the ambulance came up to the front of the paperback exchange. But you look just up the street and you hear a whisper coming from the library. Can't hear what it says, but it's something. Something.
Ricky opens the door and just says, I remember being told that the road will shift. I can hear saying we need to go towards the library. There's something there, and if it is the road and it's going to move, we might not have long.
I think when Scarlett goes out, she stops when she sees like the tire tracks of the first responder that was there, and probably for a moment she stops and she looks the direction they would have gone, and she just thinks about her dad.
He probably responded to the call.
Whenever she saw him, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm in the truck heading back towards the paperback exchange.
Yeah.
Heather's going to be the last one leaving the paperback exchange, and before she leaves, she's going to wander over to the books, and she's going to find the one that said "Believe," and she's going to swipe that and put that in her backpack.
Okay, well, you're stealing and you're a big thief now, but yes, you have it.
She is a big thief, yeah.
Put it on your character sheet. Problem: a thief.
Right. We were doing scars, then this would be a good time to roll one. Okay, no, but
You gotta pay for that.
As they kind of head up the road, Greg, I'd like to, as they're going, I'm curious about a little something. She has her gun rigs on her hip, and they don't disappear now. They're always there. And as they're walking, she kind of just looks up in the sky, and G would like to know, does she notice any a specific pattern in the clouds, like how the clouds maybe are like wavy depending on the air currents and stuff like that. Do the clouds kind of bend or shift pointing in the direction of the library?
It's an interesting question. Roll me an investigate.
All things serve the beam in some form. 0 successes.
I will say this because I like where you're going with this. The sky looks strange. You can't figure out why.
Yeah. And that, even if it is, I don't think Scarlet would really know because she's not that well versed yet.
What
So,
it does for Scarlet, though, is it makes this garret seem less like home because even the sky is different.
mm,
It's still the sky. You know, you've seen skies dark and cloudy like this before, but there's a foreign nature to this one. Much like just the differences in the town, the sky augments that feeling of separateness.
okay.
I will say this though, I'm assuming Rob, you're probably the last one to leave the paperback exchange, like officially, as far as
Yeah.
as you close the door and start to walk off, a just a bit of wind comes and catches, you know, there's a blizzard blowing outside. And as the blizzard blows, it hits the open close sign. And for a moment, the sign says, closed, but not forever. And then it blows and says, open for adventure. And then it twists again, closed, but not forever. And then finally, it twists to open for adventure and comes to rest. You all are at the library.
Does Ricky get a feeling from anywhere in particular within the library?
You hear the whisper now, and it says, here, here, here. And it gets louder the closer you get to the library.
Ricky would start to jog slowly. Not a fast enough run that anyone couldn't keep up, but a gentle jog.
Scarlet is like right with them.
Okay. You all get there, and the library is open, but unattended. There's nobody at the front desk.
Should we should go to the mural, the mural of Lion in the forest where we saw, Robin Hood. Do you remember? It's upstairs.
Yeah. Where's Hannah, Rob?
Me and who?
Hannah Casper, the librarian? Points to the desk.
Rob, you would know that she died.
Um. Well, she's not around anymore. She passed away.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't come to the library a whole lot, but um, Maggie knew her, and she was pretty torn up about it when it happened.
Yeah. What happened?
She
What?
puts her hand on Heather's our shoulder.
Rob, you would know that she was found in the library on the second floor. There was an investigation, but no one even knew what the cause of death was.
There wasn't like a big to do or anything, but they found her in the library. It's on the second floor, and yeah, they said no real signs of foul play or anything. She just passed away.
And she will lower her voice, but so everyone can hear her, but it's like she doesn't want prying ears to listen, maybe. She we saw her. She was with the army outside Emerald City. With Sarge and Yuriko. They were there.
Rob, you would also know that both Sarge and Yuriko have passed away.
They're all gone. This is not the same place. This doesn't have the same people. Very few remain.
And Van Halen said that it was taking Garrett's heroes.
She'll turn. She turns full on to Rob. What about Ben?
Ben left, you would know that Ben left Garrett and never came back.
Yeah, I really haven't seen Ben since our whole thing. Kind of decided to find somewhere other than Garrett to be Ben. Where you said you saw him in the hallways, right?
She nods. 3
Where-
times.
Was there any other Bens, or was that the only Ben?
I saw him 3 times. 4 times, technically.
But not like with 3 other Bens, just one Ben every time.
She kind of looks like she got like punched in the gut a little bit. I saw him twice as I remembered him, like the last time I saw him. And twice as an adult. He looked about your age.
No, I'm way older. I'm way older than Ben. I'm way older than Ben.
Well, he was driving a Harley and he had long blonde hair. And she kind of
Ben?
she blushes. She blushes. He had long blonde hair. And I saw him. It was kind of like a dream. She looks at Rob. Sorry, not Rob. She looks at Ricky. I was trying to find some answers, like you said. So I tried talking to Rob, but he's the older one is the one I saw. And he saw me too, somehow. But I know he did.
When did that happen, Scarlett?
In the glade, the night before JD left.
Okay.
Ricky, that figure made out of the fast moving lines down the center of Eternity Road is standing at the top of the stairs in the library.
Ricky looks to them and smiles, turns back to them and says, "We need to go. We can catch up on the road. We can catch up in the age of always." And he starts to make his way towards the stairs. And he'll take his steps, head up.
Ricky,
Now-
I'm gonna stick with Ricky real quick. Ricky, when you get up to the top of the stairs, the being that's there, that feminine form, moves down to where the murals are. And just across from those murals, there's a stack of books. And it is askew. And there is a door behind the stack of books. One that Rob might remember as opening to show skeletons of them when they were little during an adventure in the library. But now the door's open and there's sunlight pouring in and you can see Eternity Road.
Ricky stops just before the door, and he looks back to the others and says, "All right, Mr. Rott, you wanted to go to the Age of Always. This is the way in. But when we go, we all need to go quickly, because if you get left behind, it'll be long behind. It could be days. Time's funny in the Age of Always, and it's funnier on the road. So if you're ready and you have everything you need, we go."
She'll take Ricky's hand and then Heather's hand.
I will now ask Rob this. You have the option of joining the Keystones to go to the Age of Always. I will say this. At least Ben is there. Do you go with them, my friend? And outside of the narrative, do you join this group to play with them? Now, with that being said, Garrett, right now, January 23rd, 1998, will not have a defender. But, like Ricky just said, time is strange in the Age of Always. But Frags, this is your decision, and we will do whatever you want.
Well, now when you say time is strange, is it strange only in a forward direction, or can it be strange in a reverse direction?
Yes.
Is Frags asking that to the group?
No, I'm asking that to Greg.
I
Um,
mean, we've been told things.
well, hot diggity dow. I believe in the current mental state of what Rob's going through and his want to not think about everything that has literally just happened and left him alone, and for how long he's been by himself. He can't not go. He's got to, especially knowing that it's most likely that all of those people are just, duplicates from, Sideways Garrett's. He knows for a fact that Mitch dove and kind of what's going on there. So his best bet, I think, right now to at least get more information on everything is to go with them. So you got about halfway through that speech about what happens before Rob just walked through.
If Rob starts to walk through, Ricky would dart through, knowing the warnings he's been given.
Right. And I will, no rolls here, buddy. You can get to see, Chris, you got to see, you know what has to happen with the sequence and everything. So you're able to make that work. But I will say this, there will only ever be 4 Keystones, but you can always use an Autobot.
Hell yeah.
Rob, welcome to the Age of Always. As you all walk through, is there anything else that anybody wants to do in these last moments? Literally, Ricky had to kind of jump in to be with Rob as Rob was determined to go through there. So you've got a couple heartbeats to join the road yourself in Scarlet and Heather. Anything you want to do?
I think she's holding Heather's hand. And she looks over her shoulder and she mutters under her breath, like, "I'll be back."
Heather only looks forward. She doesn't look back.
Ricky,
You
once
all-
inside Greg, he's going to
Uh-huh.
look for the figure of the road. Does he see her or them?
Yes, you see her. She is standing in the middle. She's made up of the. If the yellow line in the middle of the road went very fast and became the wire frame of a figure, that is what the road looks like. But it's just to Ricky. No one else can see this. As soon as you all step onto the road, you hear a scream from this figure, Ricky, and your world, all four of you, goes dark. You wake up, you're not sure how much time has passed, and you're lying on cold stones. And as each of you kind of rouse at the same time, Rob, Ricky, Scarlett, and Heather, you realize that you are each in individual cells. And when you wake, you're all kind of, the sides of the cells are bars and the front are bars. And you can see to the left and right, each of you, as it goes, Ricky, Rob, Scarlett, Heather. But across the hallway in this prison, there is another bank of cells, but there is only one occupant who is looking at you. And he smiles as you see JD.
Fuck.
And that, my friends, is where we will end this episode of The Age of Always. Join us next time for The Age of Always, episode 10, Spell Block 6. What a fun mother episode.
I didn't weep the whole time.
I love it. Okay, let's go around and do outros, everybody, and then Mike will jump in here at the end. So let's stick this. We'll have Frags come in at the end, but let's go with Chris first. Chris, who are you? Where can we find you? And the Age of Always continues, my friend.
I'm Chris, aka Necro, and I still get to play Ricky Lewis. I'm pretty excited about that. You can only find me in Unmade Gaming Spaces a little bit later today for the Rise and one shots when they happen. Nowhere else.
Fantastic, my friend. Let's jump over to G. Same
No.
stuff.
I am who am I? I am G, your friendly neighborhood lightning invoker. You can find me all things unmade gaming, modding during the week, playing in all the Patreon games. I'll be with Chris at 4 p.m. Eastern playing the Rise. And then tomorrow I'll be with Melissa with the Patreon game for Vassin at 1 p.m. EST. The one shots are next weekend, so make sure you come for that. And Age of Always, as always, and find me in the Discord all the time.
Fantastic. As we drop down to Melissa. Melissa, same stuff.
Hi, y'all. Melissa, Drathier is my handle in the places that you can find me. They already said all the things, so I'm doing those things, and I'm following them when they do their things, and I'm following Greg when he's doing his stuff. You guys should follow all these folks because they are just fantastic creators and role players. Follow them, please. And I do fan art, games with stories, and the last one that I did was of Ricky and Scarlett, and so you should check it out on www.gameswithstories.com.
Link
And that's it. That's me.
Fantastic, fantastic. And last but certainly not least, welcome Frags to the Age of Always. Who are you and where can we find you, buddy?
I am KW Frags. I am that because that's what I've been for a very long time, even though I recently changed my name on Twitch. But yeah, you can find me hanging around unmade gaming stuff mostly, and probably over on Atari Midnight whenever that eventually kicks off. At some point, for sure, I'll be there. But yeah, that's I don't really do much other than that.
Fantastic, my friend. And and welcome, obviously, it goes without saying, you'll be a vital addition to everything here. And I will let you know, hey, my name is Greg. I'm Warp Reactor over on YouTube. If you like reaction videos, join me over there. We have some fun. But I will end with this. Each world has its defenders, its witches, its guides, its tricksters, its gunslingers, its primes, its living, and its dead. Our heroes face a two-front war, as both the Age of Always and Garrett, Maryland face oblivion. Each world linked too tightly to separate. If one falls, both fall. Midnight is upon us, as Keystones and Autobots must rise and light our darkest hour. Such is the duty of legends. See you next time. Mike?